Ned Stark. This is the big one, the death that changed everything. Sean Bean was literally the biggest name on the show, the moral center, the guy whose honor was supposed to mean something. He's investigating the truth about Joffrey's parentage, trying to do the right thing. And everyone watching was like, okay, he'll figure this out and save the day. Wrong. Joffrey decides to make an example of him, and suddenly the main character is getting his head chopped off in the first season. Nobody saw it coming because main characters weren't supposed to die like that, especially not the honorable ones. George R.R. Martin basically said your TV rules don't apply here and traumatized an entire generation of viewers. The Red Wedding. Holy crap, this one blindsided everyone. Robb Stark is winning the war, he's got a new wife, and they're going to a wedding to make peace with the Freys. It's supposed to be a celebration, a chance to rebuild alliances. The music starts playing, everyone's having a good time, and then boom, crossbow bolts, throat slitting, and the king in the north is dead. Catelyn, Robb, Talisa, and most of their army get massacred, while the Rains of Castamere plays in the background. The betrayal was so complete, so brutal, that people were literally throwing things at their TVs. 3 seasons of character development wiped out in 10 minutes. Oberyn Martell. The Red Viper had everything under control. He's dancing around the mountain, making him look like a fool, and his revenge for Ilya is finally within reach. Everyone watching is thinking, yes, finally someone's going to beat this monster. Oberyn has the fight won. The mountain is dying from poison, and all he needs to do is finish the job. But he wants that confession first, gets a little too close, and suddenly the mountain's massive hands are wrapped around his head. The sound of Oberyn's skull getting crushed is something you never forget. One moment of overconfidence turned victory into the most brutal death in the series. Shireen Baratheon. This sweet little girl who just wanted to help her father win his war. Shireen is innocent, kind, and literally the only good thing about Stannis Baratheon. When they tie her to that stake, everyone's thinking Stannis will come to his senses at the last second. Surely he won't actually burn his own daughter alive, right? Wrong. He watches her scream and burn because he thinks it'll help him win a battle. The fact that it doesn't even work makes it worse. Nobody expected the show to go that dark with a child character, and it left viewers absolutely gutted. Jon Snow. After 5 seasons of building up Jon as one of the heroes, after he becomes Lord Commander and starts trying to save everyone from the White Walkers, his own brothers stab him to death. For the Watch, they say, like they're doing the right thing. Ollie, the kid Jon saved, drives the final dagger into his heart. The screen goes black with Jon bleeding out in the snow, and that was it for the season. For months, everyone was wondering if Kit Harington was actually done with the show. Sure, he came back, but at the time it felt like losing another Stark to betrayal and stupidity. Tywin Lannister. The man who seemed untouchable, who always had a plan, who controlled everyone around him through fear and gold. Tywin appeared invincible because he was always 3 steps ahead of his enemies. So when Tyrion finds him in the privy and puts a crossbow bolt through his chest, it's shocking not just because of where it happens, but because someone finally stood up to him. The great Tywin Lannister defeated by his despised dwarf son while taking a dump. It's almost anticlimactic, which somehow makes it more powerful. Sometimes the most feared people die in the most ordinary ways. Hodor. Nobody expected the gentle giant's death to be so heartbreaking and complex. Hodor is just trying to help Bran escape from the Whites, holding the door while they get away. But then we find out his whole life was leading to this moment, that young Willis became Hodor because of Bran's time-traveling vision of this exact scene. Hold the Door becomes Hodor, and suddenly this simple character has the most tragic backstory in the series. He lived his entire life damaged by his own death, and nobody saw that twist coming. It's brilliant and devastating at the same time. Balon Greyjoy, the king of the Iron Islands, just walking across a bridge during a storm, and suddenly his brother Euron shows up and throws him off. It happens so quickly, so casually, that you almost miss it. Balon's been a background character for most of the series, popping up occasionally to be stubborn and difficult. Then bam, he's dead, and Euron's taking over the Iron Islands. It's not dramatic or drawn out, just a quick family murder to advance the plot. Sometimes the most unexpected deaths are the ones that happen without fanfare. Myrcella Baratheon. She's finally happy in Dorne, in love with Trystane, and even Jaime realizes she's better off there. For once, it looks like someone might actually get a happy ending in this show. Myrcella's having this sweet moment with Jaime on the boat, telling him she's always known he's her father and she's okay with it. Everything seems fine, and then Illyria's poison kiss kicks in. She collapses in Jaime's arms, and another innocent dies just to make a political point. The timing was perfect and horrible, right when viewers were starting to hope someone would survive. Littlefinger. Petyr Baelish spent 7 seasons being the smartest guy in the room, manipulating everyone, always staying one step ahead. He survived the War of 5 Kings by playing all sides, and he seemed untouchable because he was always useful to someone. Then he goes north and tries to play the Stark sisters against each other, not realizing they've figured out his game. When Sansa sentences him to death and Arya cuts his throat, it's shocking because Littlefinger never saw it coming. The master manipulator got outplayed by the girls he thought he was controlling. Qyburn, the ex-maester who served Cersei faithfully, created the Mountain too and helped her blow up the Sept. When the bells start ringing and Daenerys is burning King's Landing, Qyburn tries to control the mountain one last time, but his creation has had enough of taking orders and casually throws his creator against a wall, crushing his skull like it's nothing. The man who brought the mountain back from the dead gets killed by his own monster. It's poetic, but it happens so quickly during the chaos that you almost miss it. Janos Slynt. This coward spent years kissing up to whoever was in power, betraying Ned Stark and generally being a sniveling weasel. When Jon Snow becomes Lord Commander and orders him to garrison an abandoned castle, Slynt refuses. He's probably thinking Jon's too green, too soft to actually do anything about it. Wrong. Jon drags him outside and cuts his head off personally, just like Ned taught him. It's unexpected because Jon had been hesitant to use his authority, but when pushed, he channels his father's iron resolve. Sometimes the quiet ones surprise you the most. The High Sparrow and everyone in the Sept. Cersei's trial is about to begin, and everyone's gathering in the Sept of Baelor. The High Sparrow seems confident. Marjorie's there, Loras is there, half the nobility of King's Landing is in attendance. Then the camera cuts to all that wildfire under the building, and you realize what's about to happen about 2 seconds before it does. The entire Sept explodes in green flames, taking out dozens of major and minor characters in one move. It's Cersei's 9/11, and nobody saw it coming because the scope was so massive. Tommen Baratheon, the sweet summer child who never wanted to be king. After Cersei destroys the Sept and kills Marjorie, Tommen quietly takes off his crown, sets it down and walks to the window. No dramatic speech, no final words, he just steps off the ledge and falls. It's so matter-of-fact, so quiet that it hits different from all the violent deaths in the series. This kid couldn't handle the world his mother created, so he chose to leave it. The unexpectedness comes from how simple and sad it is. The Night King, after 8 seasons of build-up, after being established as the ultimate threat to all life, the Night King gets taken out by Arya in the first major battle against him. Everyone expected a longer war, multiple battles, maybe Jon Snow facing him in single combat. Instead, Arya comes out of nowhere with that Valyrian steel dagger and ends the long night in one move. It's shocking because it happened so fast and because it wasn't who everyone expected to save the day. The ultimate evil defeated by a teenage assassin nobody saw coming. There you have it. The deaths that nobody saw coming in Game of Thrones. These moments taught us that in Westeros, anyone can die at any time, and your expectations mean nothing. The show's greatest strength was its ability to subvert storytelling conventions and keep viewers on edge. If you've got other shocking TV deaths that caught you off guard, drop them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns of the moments that left us all speechless.